mentioned the word impactor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I properly gave you a chance to talk about that, and I felt like that was a great word instead of influencer or some of the cliche words we hear when we in terms of people like us. So, why the word impactor? And let's start there. Why the word impactor?
No shade to like the word influencer, but it's just that like I feel like I do more in the community. I feel like what I do is not something to just like gloss over with the term influencer. So I feel like I impact just the space in different ways. You know, from being one of the first to do what I'm doing or to do stuff in this like new era of media, to giving some players or anyone else their reps in talking in front of a camera, and just stuff behind the scenes as well. Like a lot of people see me cover games on the sideline, baseline, or whatever, but there are just other things that I do help with as well. Yeah, impactor. I like that better. It seems more meaningful, and that's what I view myself as, a more meaningful individual in the space.
And we're here once again, SwayReportingLive One Sitdowns. It's been a minute, I know. Life has been lifing on a very high level for me, but work doesn't stop. Gotta stay consistent. And my guest is the epitome of consistency no matter what she is doing. And I think you already kind of know a little bit of where I'm going. I just said she's a she. So realistically, a trend here on my podcast, on my shows, I never like to introduce a guest. Because maybe I may miss something. Maybe they don't like how I said it. But I feel like you should introduce yourself. I don't want to shortchange you at all.
Okay.
And see, y'all heard her voice. I think y'all already know who this is. But the lovely guest, very special. Please introduce yourself.
Where am I looking?
This is your camera right here.
Hi, I'm Shayla Diaz, aka Shayz Dayz. I do a bunch of things. I'm known for a bunch of things, but content creator, impactor, not influencer.
I like that.
Yeah. I cover basketball, highlight things in the basketball community, people, places, and things. And yeah, I can't even tell you a direct thing that I'm known for. I just do a bunch of stuff.
You just do what you do.
Yeah.
I think that's very key here because you couldn't really pinpoint a name, a thing, an adjective of what you would describe yourself as. And I think that's very important in your journey that I've realized from once you started coming out of college and doing a bunch of different things. We'll get down the line of that as well. First, I just want to say how I met you. Gersh Park, 2021, opening day. As some would say, I'm wet behind the ears doing what I'm doing. I don't know if you remember this moment. I think it was after one of the first day games or so. I was doing my post-game interview trying to get somebody. I think either you got to them first or I got to them first. Regardless, as I was doing my thing, I realized you spotted me and you immediately started recording. Phone out, camcorder out. If I'm correct, right. Camcorder in the left hand, phone in the right hand. Or is it camcorder in the right hand? Camcorder's in the right? I wrote that down.
Yes.
Word. But I thought that moment, I felt like that was very impactful for me because I'm like, okay, I'm just out here and somebody's already showing me love and they don't even know who I am. From your remembrance of that moment, why did you kind of gravitate towards this young kid that you've never seen before, and talk about that as we start?
Well, I mean, you don't have to necessarily like have a name or like, I'm not saying be somebody because you are. It's just I just don't know of you. So I was just capturing what was going on, and I never saw you before. And regardless if I saw you or not before, I just wanted just to capture what you were doing, and just also get the behind the scenes, as you already know. A lot of the shooters don't get their behind the scenes, so that's basically what I was doing. Clearly, I wasn't low because it was like...
I just saw you. I was like, oh, okay, all right, we got somebody. But as we tailor it along, I want to get into first a little bit of your upbringing. When did this love for basketball or love for sports in general start for you?
I don't have an age, but just, I don't know, all my life.
High school, early college kind of thing?
Even before. Okay. My dad played. He's a New Yorican. So He also played in, summer ball and
Mm-hmm.
all that. So that's where I heard about just early stories about, him playing in different tournaments, and he would throw out different names, tell different stories, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always been intrigued by that. And he played overseas, or not overseas. Yeah, technically in Puerto Rico. Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
is
we
overseas. You're
count
going
that.
overseas. Yeah,
We count that.
yeah. He played in Puerto Rico, and yeah, I have a twin brother played, an older brother played,
Okay.
and my mom is a big basketball fan, so it was just a
It just runs
basketball
in the family kind of.
household for sure.
Did you play in high school by any chance?
I did. I
Okay.
played in high school, and then I played Division III in Purchase College, and then I assistant coach for 5 years at Purchase College.
Yes, yes. So in terms of, I want to get to that because certain media, I guess I'm one of the media. I didn't play basketball
Okay.
in this basketball community. I didn't play basketball. Most of the people know that already, but I guess my love for basketball and my journalistic background has kind of made me so like fixated on this sport. So when it comes to, I realized that you played basketball at Purchase College, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All 4 years. So even when you have that background, is that something that helps you look for certain things when you go to these parks, when you go to these events, when you're just trying to see what the young people are looking for in terms of content and stuff like that?
Well, not really. Like whatever I capture. But when it comes to, I guess, quality of basketball,
Mm-hmm.
if I know about certain players or teams on the basketball side, like
Yeah.
just skill level, then that will have me intrigued on a different level. There's people's statuses, there's event statuses,
Mm-hmm.
and tournament statuses, right? But I could go to a no-name situation, but if I know certain players are playing, I'm like, oh, okay, this is about to be a thing.
About to be
for
something
sure.
special.
Yeah, yeah.
So now 4 years at Purchase. Then you just said you coached for 5 years after
Yeah.
graduating. Was this also the same time frame of you getting your master's? Because I also know that you got your master's from Manhattanville.
Yes.
Is that the same time period while you were doing this?
Yeah, it overlapped.
Okay.
It overlapped. And then I stopped coaching. I think it was the last year that I was in grad school.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or no, actually, I coached 1 year after starting Shayz Dayz. By the way,
Talk to me.
May 30th
Uh-huh.
of this year makes 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
Let's get a round of applause for that.
Right.
For Shayz Dayz.
Yes. Yes.
I bring that up because I did realize that after you with your 5 years at Purchase being an assistant, you had 2 years where apparently those were their best years of the school's history for the women's team, if I'm correct. And also with that type of success, and then of course having your master's, you have a different lanes you can go into at this point. Why did you decide to put the coaching hat down, knowing you have a basketball history and most athletes decide the coaching route may be something for them? Why was that something that you decided to push to the side?
Because I actually experienced it, and there's just things that it just didn't fit me. And I also wasn't borderline crazy. Like, I wanted to be so passionate about it, I was borderline crazy. Like, my coach, I feel like I would do a disservice to anybody,
Okay.
if I wasn't like that. So I was like, it's okay. And in Division III level, especially for that school, which it's a liberal arts school, but it's known for its performing arts. And it doesn't have, like the main majors that people are looking for or girls are looking for. So a lot of the majors that athletes may want, nursing, business,
Psychology, criminal justice, stuff like that.
Psychology they had, criminal justice they didn't. So
Yeah.
you were able to, at Purchase, like kind of create your own thing. And then so I studied economics with a business concentration. I didn't create it, but like that was their workaround.
Okay.
And if you wanted nursing, you had to do something in biology and whatever. And there was like a path, but if there's another school that gives you that right away, they're like, it's all right. And it's a unique campus. So recruiting without the
added
majors, and then it's a unique campus, and it's not what they see on TV, on shows or what
it's a little
other
different.
people
It's not what people expect.
experience. Exactly. So only certain people can go and actually like it and just survive it for however many years that they're there. And so it didn't work for me, the coaching thing. But I'm glad I tried it, and it gave me a different perspective when it comes to just being in this space. So I get what some high school coaches are going through, or even players, because I had to deal with the players when it came to submitting to school, like their applications, and if you don't have the grades. Granted, yes, I was a student as well, but when you're on the other side,
you start to see different things.
Yeah, you're like,
to appreciate
okay,
the details.
Yeah, exactly.
So one thing I do realize with coaching, I know how coaching can be very tough, very. You use the word, if you're not borderline crazy, passionate. I think that approach is interesting. When I look at a guy like Gary Irvin, it almost looks like he's overly passionate, overly aggressive with certain things, but that's sometimes what you need in coaching. So that's very interesting how you bring that up. Now, so you transition to Shayz Dayz, and I have a quote here from Purchase College. They did a piece on you about a year or two ago, if I was correct. You were quoted as saying, as graduation approached, I didn't see anything during my job hunt that really grabbed me. I wasn't sure as to what angle I wanted to enter the sports professional world, but I knew I wanted to end up with a career that is a combination of sports. You go on to say, my motive was to be more productive during the summer and have more of a purpose when attending basketball games and events. That's why I created a docu-log called Shayz Dayz. In terms of finding your niche, I think that's where a lot of people struggle, that when they go to college, or even finish both college years, bachelor's and master's, trying to figure out what they're going to do in life. How difficult was that process for you, even after your bachelor's, even before you got to your master's? Because I know the master's and Shayz Dayz and your last year of coaching kind of overlapped within the same year to two. So how difficult was that mentally for you to try to figure out, okay, I have this as a background, I have this as a background, I have this as experience, but I'm not really feeling it. So now I have to transition. How difficult was that transition?
Well, it wasn't difficult. It was just like, let's just figure out like what I'm feeling. So I just went with how I felt. So, I just literally like wrote down pros, cons.
Okay.
Cause I attempted to go on, online, the Indeeds, the, whatever.
LinkedIn's, all that stuff.
Yeah, I started LinkedIn like before that. And then I was like, all right, the ESPNs and all the big name stuff. It just nothing
clicked for you.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't popping up.
Yeah. So that's what I was like, all right, bet. I'm just going to see what I enjoy, which was, or is basketball and the arts. And just put it together with things that I already do, which was go to games. I was already going to summer basketball games. And I've always been the friend or the person to capture stuff. So how you felt at Gersh, I was always that person when I was younger, and especially college with the little digital Canon cameras or whatever. And everybody posted all of their pictures on Facebook. I mean, I didn't do that, but I didn't have Facebook. And so I don't even know when I had Facebook later. I was one of those no Facebook Shay or no Instagram Shay. I started Instagram once I started Shayz Dayz because I didn't really have.
So about 10, 11 years ago, almost.
Yeah. So literally there are hashtags like no gram Shay or whatever. So I just decided to just hone in on what I enjoyed, and it wasn't easy, but it wasn't the toughest thing in the world, because I was like, oh, bet I'm just gonna navigate it, and it felt natural because I was like, all right, I'm a people person. I already have a knack for just capturing things, and I had places I could go, and I was just interested. And summer, is Mecca of basketball, so everybody's outside.
Everybody's gonna tell you where they're going.
Yeah, and it's a melting pot. So I knew that I was gonna meet a bunch of people. Everyone has a story, so I was like, all right, let's go. And my brother played. Not in everything, but there was a team, Max's All Stars, and it had a bunch of my friends who played at Purchase College. And this was the year, when they came, they were the class that changed the culture of Purchase basketball. So they started winning championships, and they were they made Purchase the team to beat, and they set that trend, the winning culture. Yes. So they were on Max's All Stars, and from there, my brother would hop on from time to time when they would go like play with West Fourth or Tri-State. So I already had a team. If I really wanted to like catch something at a tournament I never went to, I'm like, all right. Oh yeah, and Gun Hill, can't even forget, because Gun Hill they started at first. So that's when I was like, oh, this is like easier. And then from there, you know, I just tapped into all the other baller friends that I have, and or whoever I meet, like, oh, you're playing here, or people saw me, they were like, oh yeah, I'm playing here.
Yeah,
Can you
I know how that go. Yeah, oh, can you go over there or do this for me? Or
Right.
like,
I was like, all right, bet, whatever.
So I'll get to that point very soon, but I want to just track. You talked about your twin brother. I want to ask. You said he played on a couple teams that you recorded, and stuff, and he's told you about certain things. Has there ever been a moment where, because I know you said you guys are twins. So personally, has there been a moment where people have confused you in terms of early age, or just looking at you guys like, damn, are you guys like, were you the twins that always matched, or were you the twins that tried to stay separate in how you guys did things growing up? Like, how was that dynamic?
So, it was just, we were close, or we are close, but he would do his thing, I would do my thing.
You guys didn't make it a big deal,
and we just look like brother and sister. Some people think that I look more like my older brother. But yeah, I mean, but people growing up, they gave us like the same respect. They like, oh, Shayla and Sean, like, love those twins, you know. So yeah, we just rolled together different things, but separate stuff. So like, he specifically stayed with basketball, and I did whatever I felt like as far as sports. Like, I wanted to do something every season at one point. So like, I got into tennis my last 2 years of high school, and then, you know, basketball season always, and then track.
You ran track.
Love track. Like, love track.
Tidbit.
That was my sport as well. So yeah, and then, you know, tried a rec season in softball and whatever, did cross country, whatever.
Shay just had to be doing something.
Yeah, almost did swimming after I tore my ACL. And I was
tore
like,
your ACL.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, well, let me try it. And then that just didn't.
I feel like an ACL tear is like a real basketball injury. Like,
100%.
Once you get that, it's like, all right, am I gonna continue doing this, or am I gonna pack it up? Was that like your thinking as well after that injury, or you fought through that injury? How was that for you?
Well, that happened in my junior year. So
college?
Or high school.
Okay.
Of high school, sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you continued on. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I continued on. There was no doubt about it. And that year, or that summer prior to me tearing my ACL, I like worked out a lot at the track, because the spring season, I had like my best jump, like in long jump. And I was like, oh, bet, I'm about to work on this. And so I was tight because I wanted to,
progress in that
I wanted
area.
to make it to the spring to see what, happened. So there was no way I was going to be like, oh, it's done for sports. Yeah. So I made sure I threw on the Stone Cold brace and just kept it moving.
I have a variation of that. Since I played soccer when I was younger, that was my sport. So I definitely have a variation of that Stone Cold knee sleeve. I think everyone that has a sport in that where you use your legs a lot is like, yeah, if you don't have that, at some point that means you really either didn't go as hard or you really avoided injury in the best of luck possible.
Yes, nasty break.
So when I look at your YouTube, in terms of where you first started creating your content, it's funny. It took me a while to realize what your YouTube page was, and especially who you were, because of me just seeing you and of seeing your Instagram page. I see the double-digit K followers. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, she's known. Everybody's reposting her stuff. I see how you post things, but I was like, all right, well, there has to be something else. So then I looked for your name on YouTube just off the whim. I think it was like a year and a half ago, and I was like, oh, like your latest video is like 5 years ago, but then if you go back to like where it all started, it says like about 9-10 years ago. So then I'm like, oh, she's at this. Okay, she did this. Okay, she did this. Oh, she was here for that. So it was almost like a moment like, whoa, okay, I didn't know who I didn't know who I know, and then now I know. When it comes to that, your first video is West 4th. You publicized that's where you got your start in terms of creating the streetball content and almost content in general. How did you get that opportunity? Was that through your brother playing there, or was that you just decided, I'm going to go here, see what this happens, and take it from there? How did that start for you?
Well, that was right after graduation. So I
Masters?
decided,
After the Masters?
yeah, the Masters. So that's when I was like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start when there's a streetball game. And West 4th is usually the first tournament that gets started. So found out that my friends were playing. So I was like, oh, bet. Like, I'm going to go just walk in and see what's up. And I didn't really expect any issues. So I just went and was like, all right, I'm with, them and recorded. And I was welcomed. And at that point, I feel bad. What is his name? He just passed from West Fourth.
Oh, man. I could look at the page for you as you continue.
Worthy.
Yes. West Fourth page. Goddamn.
James Worthy?
Nah, not James Worthy. I don't think his name was James. Let me get that almost there. And his name was from Dust to the. Oh, I can't find the name. They called him Worthy. They didn't put a first or last name. It just says "We love you, Worthy." But yes, the MC for that part.
Yes. So I literally went back to that video the other day just because I was like, oh, let me look. The 10th year is coming up. Let me just look at some of that.
Some things, yeah.
And he's on there, like talking to me, like, oh, welcome. I don't know who you're shooting for, but this is West Fourth, blah 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 blah. So I was like, wow, especially with him passing, I was like, this is what I want to capture. Just the stories, the history. I want my stuff to be part of like the history of streetball, and that was also another spark for me to like just document. So yeah, a lot of people know me from like Instagram stuff, but I do the long form on my right side with the camera and then short form on my phone because I want to capture stuff on my camera, throw it in the archives because who knows, but in my mind, I think that it's going to be used. I know it's going to be used later on. Monetarily, that's not necessarily what I'm thinking of. It's just more so just this is a file, or these are the files that people are going to tap into. Because I was looking at certain things. It's always like, stories. Like even my dad telling me stories like, yeah, back in the day, da-da-da-da. You literally have to be there. If you wasn't there, you missed it because nobody was recording. Like, like after a certain point, or before a certain point, there's nothing except everybody who was there with their own recollection.
And word of mouth, yeah.
Exactly. So for that point, I was like, all right, I actually want to be one of those people to document. And then years later, someone would be like, oh, yeah, do you have this? We're doing a documentary, or, someone mentioned a moment, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got that, and I have the actual visual to it. In case someone want to lie too, like I got it. Don't worry. You don't have to tell them more. It's fine. We'll run it back.
I'll send that clip to you.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that I like when I hear that is first, because I think I asked you a similar question when we were like trying to discuss dates for the interview at Fordham during the high school playoffs. I asked you, I'm like, yo, what do you do with the camcorder footage? Like, you just have that? She's like, and you're like, as you said, you just archive it because someone's going to want it. But then I also look at it like, why were you so early in that thinking where like, okay, I'm not even going to touch these things because this is where, I guess, not really, lack of a better term, this is where the money is, but like this is where production-wise, this is what I'm going to use. This is just for the quick. The phone is for the quick. Why was that your thinking so early? And I keep looking at it. I keep looking at the camcorder as I'm thinking about it because I feel like that's very important. As me doing a docuseries now and just looking at your different pieces of work, why was that the thinking? And did anybody influence you to move the way you did once you started?
I don't know. It literally just came up. I told you I was always that person just documenting things. Again, not even to make a production or to get money from it. Like I like documenting things because the moment's gonna come and go. And I guess I'm more into just valuing different things like that. And I don't know, it was just natural. And then the second part,
in terms of anybody that influenced you during the time of you starting.
No, nobody influenced me. It was just the fact that there was a lack of that just influenced me to double
playback.
Yeah. And again, not to just, debunk anybody's stories. It was just more so like, this is now part of history and I got it. And if I'm not playing or coaching, this is my realm of etching myself, in the history books. And also I missed like I missed I would say like the golden era of streetball
Yes.
and NYC stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my way of being involved in whatever is going on now, like the current stuff, like moving forward in my own way. Like I created the lane, but it's still just my way of just being involved in the basketball community, because people talk about, oh yeah, basketball during this time and like who was around and media people. At a certain point they're gonna just mention me and certain other people, and after what was it 2022?
That was 21. I was 21 summer.
21.
Yeah.
Then your name is gonna be involved, right? Because you're really outside, and you get great content and you talk to people who give you gold. Like that's, I was looking at the Tyler Bourne one. I was like,
yeah.
energy.
Shout out Tyler Bourne.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
One thing I would ask is, how do you, when did it get to a point where you're going to all of these different events? Because when I look at some of your YouTube videos, you're literally capturing moments from when you're on transportation. I seen LIRR, I seen trains, I seen buses, a couple car things, if I'm correct.
Listen.
Like, why? Like, these are very much long form content that certain people can't really appreciate or weren't doing at your time. So I guess, did you know that you were going to be such a pioneer for media in this space, or you were just like, you know what, I'm gonna do something, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And why did you continue to go so hard? Where was your consistent motivation while you were doing these things?
Well, firstly, I didn't know where it was going to go. I just wanted to capture, Shayz Dayz is my days. So I already had like fun summers, fun days. Like I'm like all over the place. So it was just also not a look into like the basketball space. It's a look in like what I do. And it gives the NYC like experience. So capturing the getting on a train or just different forms of transportation. If you're not in New York City, you get that experience like, oh, wow, like, oh, this is how the inside of a subway looks or whatever. But if you are from New York City, you relate. I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's why I just wanted to just capture all that. And I for sure took every form of transportation when I started, no matter where it was.
That's a different level of dedication. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
And then go to different
hoods, everything.
I mean, I still do that now, but multiple tournaments in one day.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were one of the first few people I started realizing, like, even if I didn't see you at a certain park, you were here. Like, I wouldn't realize once you started posting. I'm like, yo, these were on the same day. And certain people would stay at one park for a few hours and then be like, all right, I'm done. Keep it pushing. That's a different level of dedication, Shay.
Yeah. And then I got a car, so
there we go.
It kind of it didn't make it worse. It just improved my moving around. So like, if I'm going to Jersey, I can't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make it back for New York City, something at a time, close to whatever Jersey event that is, without a car. So now I can bug out even more, and I haven't. So yeah. And I don't know. And what motivated me, or what still motivates me, is honestly just myself. Like if I'm not passionate about it, if I don't enjoy it, then I'm just not gonna do it. So there are times where I slow down, and sometimes I just pick things up. But I try to follow what I feel, and not really someone else or what's popping or whatever.
That's not your thing. You're just
like things, because people pop. Tournaments pop, events pop, but like I literally can't make it to every single thing, and I gotta be okay with it because I'm one person. And the fact also that I'm one person is another reason why I do both. If I'm waiting for somebody else, a job may not be done. So what am I gonna do? Wait?
Trust me, I know that question because I guess some of the narrative around me is I take a little bit too long to produce certain content.
Okay.
I've definitely been told that, or it's like, oh, why is it taking so long, or oh, you were late on this, or something like that. But I'm a guy that doesn't like to rush whatever I'm making, because I know that once I've put it out there and my name is attached to it, I want you to feel good about what you just saw. Right. So when it gets to that point of it, were you ever competitive in trying to put out whatever you wanted to put out? Because I know sometimes I kind of, I guess this is my pride talking, but like I would see a video or a mix and I'd be like, interesting. and then it'll be either kind of almost motivate me to get back in front of the computer, because like you said, there's moments of rest, there's moments of slowdown in this profession. So did you ever have like that competitive nature of like, I saw that, I feel like I could do it better, or just like, this is pushing me to get back into the grind mode?
Well, I don't try to
Compare yourself to others? Or?
Yeah, well, because firstly, the way I shoot is not like, I have my own camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Nobody shoots on it. Everyone has like, a higher quality, whatever. I don't make highlight reels, whatever. If I'm the last to put up a moment, I'm the last to put up a moment, because I enjoy being there. You've seen me plenty of times. One of the last people in the park. One of the last people.
One of the first people there too.
Yeah,
let's get that straight.
Yeah, or in the gym. Because I enjoy talking to people. That's when I can socialize. A lot of people are like, oh, what do you do on the side? Like, you're around this so much. But it's a way of socializing as well. Like, I see a lot of like my people or people I'm cool with at games or at events. I just get to do all that socializing after the basketball, which I'm fine with. But yeah, I miss it. People, leave and do what they gotta do. It's fine. Everyone has their own thing and has their own niche in this space. And I know mine, and I own it. And I also know that, like, being that I'm one person, and I have to travel from here to here to here, and then head back to my place, I physically can't, like, rush and get something up. Because I also need to sleep. I also have other things.
I don't think athletes and certain people understand that.
No. It literally, they will leave the gym. Oh, you got the clip? Why would you think I have that on already to send you? Like, yeah, you understand.
Yo.
You understand. So, yeah. So, and that's why, like, definitely there's power in the word of no. You have to say no to certain things, or just be upfront, like, I can't right now, or it's just not what I do, or whatever. Just be honest, because there's just a lot of things that you literally just can't do, and they expect me to be like other people they see. I'm like, whoa, this is what I do. I'm upfront, and then I'm like, but if you do want that, I have a whole network of folks that could do it for you, or they might have it for you, and I'll send you, their contact or whatever, and, have at it. But this is what I do. I'm comfortable at it. No one's going to push me or pressure me to do this. Everyone's, oh, you should do this, or maybe you should record. I got this a lot. You should record music videos. Even when I just said, like, oh, no, basketball, I'll stick with basketball, sports, oh, where you ever thought about music videos? You ever, Why, because you're a rapper? Yeah. No, I'm fine. Like, I'm good, especially since I'm a woman, but
I definitely want to get to that as well. But before we get to that hot topic, I want to see your Fujifilm camera and your film. Yes, your film where you take pictures. It prints out the film. If you guys don't know, and you write Shayz Dayz at the bottom, and that's just how you capture moments physically with the camera. With this type of camera.
Yes.
First of all, great idea. It's number one, great idea.
Oh yeah, now I have her here.
Yeah, guys, I don't know. This is what I'm trying to tell you. She's different. But that idea in itself is very powerful, of course, whenever you started it. But when did that for you become like a Shayz Dayz staple? Like, okay, if you performed great this day and she was there, you're getting one of these. Or if just someone in the crowd, good moment, maybe. Yes, it's not a guarantee.
Maybe.
Depending on how it is. But like, when did that for you become a staple in your creativity?
Well, I intentionally like tried this, and there was like a bigger Instax camera, because again, I have like, I'm aware that I have like the soft skills in a lot of things. I can talk to people, or I do this, but when it comes like to the hard skills, as far as like using a digital camera and all these other things and editing or whatever, like I don't have that. So instead of taking pictures like digitally and throwing your watermark on it or whatever, I was like, oh, bet, something that's actually more genuine to me and just is organic to me is to have more of a way of connecting with people. And so when I got this, I was like, bet, instead of having something sent digitally, I will give them something that they can take away, like a nice little tangible. And then me writing Shayz Dayz on it that's my watermark. So I don't really need, there's no learning curve. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I got familiar with the camera. Okay, with this lighting, it does this, this, and that. Okay, fine. Print it out. Write Shayz Dayz on it. I try to put details in the back, like the date or the event, or if you got MVP, or if I know your points, or whatever. And you don't even have to be a coach, player. Whatever. It could be anybody. Just from a certain moment, I just tag it up and then give it to you. Hope that you keep it forever and ever and ever. Which a lot of people have.
Yeah, I would. Damn.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of
real.
people have. And then so when I got that feedback, I was like, oh, bet. I forgot who it was, but one of the players, one of the girls, she told me that she put it in her locker. I was like, really? I was like, okay.
That's dope.
And then I started seeing, you know, some people put it in the back of their phones, or they would come to me, I still have it. I was like, all right, then I guess I'll keep it going. And then people also remember me for that as well. So I was like, all right, it's part of my brand, and that's where I want my brand to be, just more of a connection, or I don't know, a genuine rapport.
So that would bring me into, how would you describe your relationship with the players? Women, girls, boys, men, different times that you're seeing them, sometimes at their low moments, sometimes at their best moments. I pride myself on trying to make sure that the relationship between media and players is very respected.
Right.
I feel like on the professional level, what gravitated me towards this was that I never got to hear the players' side of things whenever you hear an article, or they just may visualize a player differently. How do you pride yourself on that type of relationship in terms of media and player, or media and corporation, media and team? Like, how did you properly try to navigate that relationship and set that up as you go out to your career?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, everybody has a story. So I try to just highlight whoever. Like, doesn't matter if you have a big name or not. And I feel like I got more respect for that, because it's like, oh, you popping out just because, you know. That's why, and especially hood tournaments, you know, more hood tournaments. Like, because a lot of, no matter if it's sponsored by Nike or whoever, if you're in the hood, you're in the hood, just sponsored by a brand. But it could be a team or a slot that has, like, no names. I'll watch it, like, or I'll cover it. Like, okay, you know, oh, but I'm going to turn your camera off, or you don't want to stay here for this. Like, why? I also don't know everybody. Like, if I'm capturing the same people all the time, I'm bored. I am bored. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to know who's in the city. Like, and also, if you have a name, that's not who
the camera doesn't always chase the names.
Right. That's not, like, if you have a name, that's not a representation of everybody in the city, like, at all.
That's a fact.
And again, like I said, anybody could pop at any point, and anybody who have a ranking could drop at any point, you know, if we're talking players. And then even with events, like, it could be the hottest this year and then maybe never happen again. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I just want to go because I want to go. I want to cover because I want to cover. So I feel like, you know, the fact that I would stick around for certain things or pop out to certain things, it would be like, oh, all right, like, that's cool. And you posted me on top of that. Like, I would try to find Instagrams. I'll try. Like, I do know a lot of Instagrams, but I'll try to find people that I don't know and post it. But if not, your clip is on there, right? It's not your own highlight reel, but your clip is on there. If you want to screen record, do that. And I do promote more screen recording because I'm not sending everything. But, yeah, just, it's on there. So I'm like, I'm showing love to whoever. It doesn't have to be the person going to whoever or wherever to get love. So I feel like that's where, you know, I get respect, and then the rapport builds. I'm not, like, cool with every single person, but, you know, I also try to make people feel like
they can talk to you.
Yeah. And I, you know, I try to say hi. I try not to just be like, oh.
All up in your face, but yeah.
Yeah, like, every single time. Like, I mean, as a media person, you got to do what you got to do, but I also try to make it seem like, or make it them feel like they are people. So, yeah, a hello, a who I am, you know, what's your name? Just something like that, opposed to just, and then be out. And that's what, another reason, you know, this being given to whoever, they're like, oh, wait, I get this? I can get this? I'm like, yeah, like, okay.
So with hearing this, right, I guess before I get to where people know you to be at, I want to say, how do I navigate this? You're somebody that's so highly respected in this space. There's almost like you're good anywhere, right? And it takes if you're being for real, like you're almost as good anywhere. So it's like when you get to that level of, I guess, notoriety or respect, how do you properly, how I say, stay professional? Whether it's the people you meet, people you interact with, people you work with, how do you keep that professionalism so that people can always go back to your page, your content, or their experience with you as a person and say, Shayz Dayz is somebody that I will always call and be like, can you come to this event? How do you maintain that level of professionalism?
I try to show love, like in a genuine way, and not on some like, oh, I do this for you, do this for me. And that's mainly what it is for me. Like, and that's why I have to take my breaks for sure, or just make sure I sit myself down or skip things, because it's a giving thing all the time, you know, putting stuff up, looking for a tag so people could repost, or traveling somewhere just so I can capture something or show love to an event or a player or whoever invited me. But I think that's big, because if you're always moving around like you want something or you need something in return, it's like, all right, or you can just not come, you know? And then when I first go to a tournament, I always try to meet the commissioner or the person in charge, because I've heard from different people, and also, I mean, I realize it. If you just show up, get what you need, and leave, they're like, all right, well, who's that? Or like, bet. Just use us for, you know, your content, and then whatever.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely see that side of that, yes.
Yeah, so like I wanted to build those reports so they know exactly who I am, and it's not like, oh, who's that? Like, they shouldn't know from somebody else. I should go up to you. This is your space, you know? Introduce myself and let you know what's going on from my mouth, and then we can go from there. And then, you know, you automatically have that line of communication with me. So I feel like that's how I got good in a lot of spaces. I deliberately did that, especially when I started off. Like, you know, I made sure I met, you know, for West Fourth, since the first one, Kenny. I was heavy when I first started out at Tri-State, because again, Max's All-Stars, I was around them a lot, and they were heavy in Tri-State. So made sure I met Mousy, the, you know, people at Gun Hill, everybody, you know, and then and of course, you know, to Dykeman, Kenny there, everybody. And then when I went to Gersh, who was it? Oh, DP? All right, bet. And then know the announcers and just like key people. And you have to also just respect them. I don't always go there and expect, just because they know me, that they're going to roll out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Trust me, yeah.
Like, why would I expect
you
that?
kind of have to almost prove yourself or show that you're somebody that appreciates what they have going on.
Yeah, but always, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, it's their thing. And especially if it's streetball or a tournament or an event, they're busy doing their thing. Like, I want to be, like, the least of their worry. Like, oh, what's up? And then get to my spot. Because, you know, I'm a one-spot person. So get to my spot, stay out the way, and get my content. And that's just what it is. I just want to keep respecting whatever they have, whether it's, like, new rules or new locations where they want media to be, or whatever, entrances, whatever it is. I just want to make sure that I always respect what they have, because then I'll get the respect as well.
So in terms of what you're creating now, or just the field that you're in, because I definitely wanted to touch on this. New York City media, as we know it currently, you've seen it kind of from the beginning almost into what it is right now. What is besides, of course, the abundance of different people,
Okay.
what would you think is the difference between when you started out to right now, and how we as in myself, a guy like Mello, a guy like Steven, Dave's Joint, you know, different kinds of guys and people that have different ways of doing their journalistic work. What is the difference from how you see it from before and now?
Well, so when I started, there was nobody really, like in reference to like this new age media.
Yeah.
Like, I did what is going on now. But to shout out the people that was capturing stuff, Troy Williams.
Okay.
She's a photographer. She was at Pro City, Dykeman, and she was just like around, and she would get booked to do her thing. So when I saw her out there, I was like, oh, bet, like there's another photographer or a media person or whoever, and it's a woman. So I was like, all right. So Troy, and then Sherman, he used to always have I met him at Tri-State, and he also recorded at Dykeman when I was outside. So he would have his camera set up on a tripod, and he would just, capture it like that. So, but he's no longer like outside like that, but that's what I saw. And then I heard about like Edgar Burgos, who was doing things before me, and he had a streetball show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. I forgot on well, it had to be, I guess, MSG network, so whatever. So like I knew of that. So I was like, okay. That's all I know. And then I saw more people come out. By the way, Dave, he always was into like writing and reporting and whatever. I met him at Tri-State, and he was working the table there. Oh, wow. And so when he started popping out and like doing his thing, I was like,
check you out.
Right, right. So, and then I only mentioned him because he's one of the people that I saw like pop out and start doing his thing. And then Jaquan, who brings NYC, my guy as well. And then other people popped out. Some have their own like, oh, I need this because it's this person, so they can get their status. So that's still a thing, right?
I hate that a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, that's still a thing because it is like saturated right now. But going to like what you do, Mellow, whatever. These are people that care more, and we have conversations on the baselines and sidelines about certain players or certain things because we know about it. Like we're actually in the know. Not just because they have a big name or if they have a name at all. We just know what's going on in the space and we talk about it. You can't do that with certain people. If it's beyond whatever names, it's over.
They can't talk about it, yeah.
Conversation's done. So that's the difference. Well, saturation, of course, but just different people from different angles, actually. Like, you have your style, and then Melo has a style, Steve, Dave, Jaquan. That's what I also appreciate now, regardless of the saturation, is just that more people are finding what they can do that's different from someone else. So you can see more ways of how the game's captured or how the content's produced, opposed to just the regular like highlight reel, this whatever. Like 8 Eyes from Philly, but like you saw more of his clips with like R&B music on it, which blew up, and then everybody did days in lives, but seeing people's take on their days in the lives of players and coaches or whatever. Right. So yeah, I would say that that's something that's different, and I enjoy it. I do enjoy that because I'm not doing it, and I have more people that I could send people off to.
Yeah.
Oh, you need that? Bet.
Oh, yeah. This person
someone actually just started doing that. So yeah, here you go.
See, you touched on something. Certain people, certain media people only show up for big names, big teams, stuff like that. And that's something that's almost like a pet peeve of mine as I've navigated and tried to figure out how to differentiate myself from different people and find the right story. Do you think, in terms of New York City basketball, in terms of the high school landscape, you've done professional in terms of big names like that, or the high school just finding the diamond in the rough? In terms of New York City basketball culture, because I know that's kind of like a hot topic right now in terms of different things, where do you think New York City stands right now in the way that they bring up their youth in terms of younger players compared to how they glorify people on the unlimited stage or different things like that? Where do you think we are as a community in that space? Are we focusing on the wrong things, such as how much points somebody had, or if they're all over the social medias? Because I would assume there's diamonds in the rough that we don't even see their footage. They just outside working. and it just takes one of us to get to them.
Right.
So in terms of that type of aspect of it, where do you see the New York City basketball culture right now? I know it's a broad question, but try to nail down some of the things that like you don't like that you think should be better.
Well, development is always a thing. Development, and I just speaking from the media side, because you touched on it, like, you know, the videos that you see or the content you see of different players, it's like, you know, it's their highlight reels, their makes, their positives or whatever. So when people see that or kids see that, they just think that, or even workouts. The workouts get a little crazy when you like post it. So like when other people see that, they think that, oh yeah, that's it. No, like you're seeing makes, you're seeing like when they do go hard, when they have the most energy, but what you're not seeing on, you know, film is them pushing or the part of a workout of a player or whoever working out pushing past a certain point or losing the ball or missing or whatever. It's just like that's the part that is not shown, but being that it looks more pretty online, a lot of youth think that
that's how it is.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I don't have to put that much work in because look, this person does it. Look at the video. Yeah. But out of how many shots or how many drills, right? You know? So I feel like that's the thing.
Very clickbaitish.
Yeah. That's the thing, not even just in New York City, just in general, after, you know, social media and basketball became just more of a thing. So, you know, there's that. And, you know, like I said, it's development. Like, there's just always going to be a thing. Like, everyone needs to have a place also to do their development because of the gym situation. If you don't notice when that one, it's over. You know, or just programs, just access. Because if you are charging, that for sure means that some players that need that can't get it because they don't have the money. So more things that are free. And I say that because I've seen it with Shanae, with girls, with Grow Our Game. She has her own free programming with very young girls, but that's where it starts, you know? So you don't have to be in high school. Like, yeah, we're talking like high school stuff or whatever, but like if we're talking just youth in general, more programs like that in New York City would just mean the world to so many kids, even if they don't even play basketball past that. Because I think the developmental stage, no matter the age, actually is very important in the game of basketball and just like in life, because we're not talking about what sports teach you, but yeah,
but
you know, it just helps you as a person, I believe.
Got you. Just to wind down a little bit, because we do have to cut things a little short, but I definitely want to get on these important topics before we go. One thing that you said, actually, let's go straight into this. The women's game. I don't want to have you leave here and we don't talk about the women's game at all.
Okay.
I think that's very important. Over the last year or two, we've seen a public resurgence in women's basketball, whether it's college basketball or even high school basketball. You've seen the progression, whether it's socially and just the resources that the women's game have compared to the men's game. What is it that you've seen over the past couple of years that you felt proud about to say that, okay, more people are either seeing this or more women or young girls have the opportunity just as much as the men's do? Where did you start to see that difference or how I say opportunity start to grow even more? Or I mean, if you feel like you don't see it as much, then you can definitely say that as well.
I mean, of course, with, you know, NCAA stuff and whatever, yeah. And then just the love that is being shown more in WNBA, well, especially this year. It didn't even officially start, except like the preseason stuff. But you already see what's going on. But in like New York City, I would say like when it comes to like activated things like New York versus New York, having the girls portion of that was pretty cool because it allows them to be on the same stage as the boys.
For sure.
And the boys always get, activated, whatever, during the summer. I mean, it's just a lot of things that just need to be improved. Like, there's nothing really that I'm like, oh yeah, this is when I was like, oh yeah, doing all this stuff for the girls. Not really. But going back to like Shanae, learning about Grow Our Game.
Yeah, I know.
Made me
yeah.
like maybe also realize like, oh, like they're actually not like I didn't know, but it just made me realize even more of how people are super passionate, and if they really want to do it, like they will make it happen. She makes it happen. And it's not even just Grow Our Games. I know so many other things that women are doing for girls or just women. There's so many runs for women, which is cool. Jordan Brand started a run, not just for the men, but for women as well.
Yeah, I've been seeing that around as well. Yes.
So that is actually cool, and give them gear and all that. Downtown girls, I forgot, but women's, league. There's a bunch of like leagues that they show love and allow women and girls like their space. Still a lot of work to do in general for the game. But it's cool to see, regardless if people are hopping on because it's a trend or not. Like, it's whatever. It has to start somewhere. And even just like, signature sneakers and all of that stuff. Like, I think that's fire, because why not?
In terms of your treatment in this space, I don't see a bunch of women cameramen. That's my disclaimer right there. I don't see a lot of women videographers, in this space. And since you're one of the pioneers to start it, how have you been received? Because we've talked about professionalism. We've talked about how you carry yourself in your different style of work. But in such a male-dominated space, I know sometimes you may receive things that you're not, let's say, accepting to, or you don't like it as much as you may say. Whether it's a way a player talks to you, whether he's really trying to talk to you for footage or stuff, or he really just trying to talk to Shay for real.
Right.
So that type of things, how did you navigate that, and are there bad moments, or what are the good moments you've had trying to be like, look, I'm not here for whatever you think I'm here for. I'm here for business and business only.
Well, all of the things still happen, but predominantly I would say it has been like a positive, like, just experience, like, only because I've been raised in a male dominated space, like myself. Like I'm the only girl. I don't have any sisters. And I'm just used to navigating amongst like guys, boys, or whatever. So when I first came out to games, of course I still get it, because it's like, whatever, just the people gotta ask, I guess. But, oh, who are you here for? Oh, your man's playing? Or like, oh, your brother? But technically, like, my brother did play in certain things, but like they didn't know, like, oh, what are you here for? Not really asking like, oh, you have to be here for something, so who are you recording for, or whatever. Like, not even that angle. It was just like, oh, who are you here for on the court? Like, oh, okay, like I can't be working with anybody or for somebody. It's just straight for that. But now it's to a point where people know, or someone speaks for me, which is cool.
Like, yo, she's not on that, or
yes, that, but also speaking for me and like, oh, she does this, basketball sense, and then they will clear that up, but they
in a little bit more aggressive tone, like, yo, leave her alone.
Yeah. It depends on who, but people now know like what I do, or they see me around enough, like at games, even if you don't know exactly what I do, you know that I'm following the game. And I'm in a lot of situations like the only woman on the baseline, sideline. So I just have to be comfortable with it. And I mean, the cons is that a lot of times I am the only one. So, but the pros is that I'm starting to see more, which is good. And not even like women, and also like women of color, which is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. And more often, not just at big games. Steel Visions, I hope I'm not messing up. Steel Visions, I saw her at IS8 last week. I don't even know. I forgot who was playing, but she popped out. Like in ISA, not everybody's there. Clearly, talent is, but media-wise, not a lot of people, are there. So the fact that like she popped out and some other like people over the time I was there or women, they came out. I was like, all right, you're really here trying to get your game up as far as photography and get your reps in, and also be in the game, which is cool.
Got you. So sadly, we are running out of a little bit of time. I feel like this deserves a part 2, but because there's still some things I want to touch on. Is just the way we started the pod was a little late. That's on me. But I'll end with this. There's a quote here that I also found from, I think this was a Jordan piece or a slam piece that they did with you.
Okay.
You said, stay true to you and don't stress too much about not having a mapped out future. Keep working to follow your passion and what makes you happy. Things will fall into place.
Sounds like me. Sounds all right.
When I hear that, I think of my life. I think of my bro's life. I think of a lot of different people in the creative space. And I don't think a lot of people in the creative space have someone like you that can literally tell the story from start to finish and have a lot of experiences that we've had. Just to end it, please give us, what would you tell a creative, a young person in sports, a young woman in sports? Just give your, 2 cents on what it took for Shay and what it can take for them to start somewhere with just an idea and then now be at the forefront of New York City culture, Jordan brand, all of these things that come with what Shay has made. So please tell the people what it takes to be you and what it takes for them to be their highest self.
All right. Oh, so take it here down.
Yeah, this is where we go here.
Hello. Yeah, basically just to echo that, just stay true to you. Because you're on your own journey. Everyone has their own journey in whichever space you decide to explore. And comparison is, comparison, yes, is a thief of joy. So don't look at what people are doing because it will take away what you plan to do for yourself or whatever you were excited about. And it doesn't even need to be like that. Just stay true, stay focused, and just actually take action. And things will work out.
There you have it, guys. Shayz Dayz. Respectfully, I really believe there needs to be a part 2 because I know there's some things I didn't touch on, and I know she's going to tell me this after the cameras are off.
We can make it happen.
But yes, Shayz Dayz, SwayReportingLive One Sitdowns, New York City media. I would like this to continue. Hopefully we can get more media personnel up here.
You will.
I would definitely, we had to start with Shay though. We had to start with Miss Shayla Diaz, and hope you guys like this interview. And yes, I'm going to say it again. We might have to get a part 2 because there's some things that I feel like you have very important opinions on. And I don't want you to just walk out here and not speak on those things.
I'll be back. This is my first time on a podcast, so.
Yes, thank you for that. And just like that, our time's up. And love y'all. Catch y'all. Word.
3 days later.
Welcome back, guys. SwayReportingLive One Sitdowns. This is a first time occurrence that I'm doing right now, a part 2. Just certain things that we wanted to get off our chest, certain things that I felt I missed out on because of time constraints. And we have Miss Shayla Diaz back here again. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Mother's Day was cool for me. How was yours?
It was great.
Great. Spent time with the family.
Yes, indeed.
So just as a refresher, how did you feel about what we talked about on the first episode? Certain things that I guess caught your eye, caught my eye. I guess we can start off with continue on with the women's game. Let's start off with there. We wanted to address certain things, certain resources that women may not have had before or little girls may not have had before in the past. And we have certain people, certain groups that are continuously growing that. So I know you have certain things that you wanted to get off on that. So tell us, for those that don't know, certain resources, certain programs that young girls can go to still follow that basketball dream if they wanted to.
So last time I mentioned Girl Our Game.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how things are when you're asked something on the spot, you forget things. But although I don't know everything that's going on in the city, I do know of a couple things and people. So, of course, we have Ladies Who Hoop.
Okay.
That program, Rose Classic Tournament.
Shout out to Rose Classic too.
Exactly. Different trainers. So, Humble Development works with, girls, youth in general, but girls.
It's looking like he might have the best high school runs right now, but they're doing their thing. Shout out Humble Youth. Facts.
Okay. Yes, he is definitely doing his thing. Shout out to Justin. And we have different trainers, Justin, Sheen Little, I saw him in action. That's Ariel Little's father.
That's crazy how you bring him up. Shout out to him. Shout out to you, sir. I was going to ask you about Miss Ari Little. I wanted to just ask you, since you've kind of seen her progression as she's started in high school and now about to go to St. John's or Rutgers?
Oh, she's going to St. John's.
St. John's, yeah, excuse me.
I actually saw her first at Humble Development.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when you see a girl like that start from where she started from and now really got it out the mud and going to school for free, stuff like that, things that we want to see, how does that make you feel, and how did you really see her go through life and basketball?
Well, to be honest, it was more so from afar.
Okay.
And then later on, when I saw her and I saw South Shore and I got closer to South Shore and became cooler with Coach Anwar. It was just cool seeing her kind of come out her shell. So I would see her on the court, but also from the media standpoint, I would speak to her after the games. So the thing that I noticed that she developed and she became better at was just, speaking about her game, speaking about whatever her thoughts are, just articulating everything. So that was really cool to see from when she was younger until now. So that is just something that, of course, basketball is cool, but it's something cool to see from the media standpoint, just the progression. That's something that I kind of take pride in as far as giving the youth or whoever just that experience in front of a camera. Just, it's a no pressure situation. Get your reps in. Yeah, get your reps in. If it doesn't sound good, you can start all over or,
Real
we
talk
might have
at reps,
to record it.
One of the first times I got her, I saw her on playing. She was one of my first, high school interviews. I think she was one of my first girl interviews. I think so. But it's funny how you say about speaking and portraying yourself and talking about your game, being able to do that confidently. She actually definitely showed that. She was a little nervous in the interview, but seeing the progression is definitely a thing to behold. From one young female hooper to another, one thing I saw in your story, since we're here on a part 2 and it's been some days, Kiyomi McMiller. She's committed to Rutgers already, and she is Jordan Brand's only high school athlete, correct?
Yes.
So I realized, first of all, I saw her in the Jordan Brand Classic. She's a bucket. More than a bucket, but real stuff, she's a bucket. But as I pave it forward, I saw in your story that she played in a boys IS8 game recently.
Yes.
So please talk about that, how you were there and you captured that. So please talk about that moment.
Well, hold on. I did not capture it.
Okay.
She told me literally right before the game started. So I wasn't able to make it. I was
time frame and stuff.
I was elsewhere, yeah. But shout out to Max Joel. He's from Queens. He's not far from I-State. So he went over and he took some pictures. Dave's Joint was over there as well.
All right.
So yeah, her, she did her thing.
And it won't be her last time.
Yeah. So she plays with Difference Makers.
Okay.
Which from my understanding is a Southern Jersey Philly team.
Okay.
My fault if I got that wrong. But she is playing with them. They are 4-0, I believe, ending the regular season, and then playoff starts next week. So yeah.
I guess that brings up a whole nother avenue almost. You don't really see that much girls playing with guys on a basketball court. So where do you think, where do you think we can continue to see that on, of course not in public school basketball, we're going to see that, but in these types of settings, summer ball. Is that something that could happen down the line, in your opinion, if the right young woman is talented enough to be on the level of the boys and compete at a high level? Do you think that's something that should continue when it comes to high school hoops, summer-wise, AAU-wise?
Yeah, why not? If it works, then make it happen. But I also don't want it to just be a thing where it's oh, she's nice and just, throw it with the guys, because at one point, in the future, I can see there are just a bunch of Ari's, Kiyomi's, all of the girls just elevating. So it won't be like a super standout and just throwing with the boys. Like hopefully it will be a strong pool of girls where
not just one or two, like a good
right.
number,
So
yes.
you could just see girls play. But I mean, to your question, why not? If the girl can hang, then why not just throw in there? It's entertainment. It's street ball. So let's see. So like I say, I want to see how that works, especially if it's against the kids that I see a lot in the city or from Jersey or wherever. I want to see how she holds her own, and I know she can.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there's strength and speed or whatever that just difference, right?
Yeah, that's science.
But right. But when it comes to skills, if she catches you with something. Like
can't really
that's
give an excuse
right,
on that
right?
One. Yeah.
That's skill. So yeah, we'll see what's up. Of course, I'm rooting for her.
Yes. So I wanted to ask this question in terms of the way you produce your content. In the first part, we kind of talked about how your YouTube is not really outdated, but you've stopped putting too certain amount of things on YouTube.
Yeah, outdated.
You're good on that.
Yeah.
So why? I don't remember asking this question the first time, but why did you make that shift to Instagram to where anything that you touch or anything that you decide to post is on Instagram? People have to find wherever Shayz Dayz was at on Instagram.
Because I'm just one person and doing every single thing, it just takes forever.
You don't think about having an intern?
Yeah, but no. Only because like it's my vision, right? So it's hard to have someone sit there and do stuff that they don't really know about. And then if I'm telling you every single thing, it's like I might as well just do it.
I hear that. I hear
literally,
that.
Like if you go through everything, it's just like, all right, I'm gonna watch you cut through everything when I have to do stuff on Instagram or whatever.
You don't want to babysit nobody.
Yeah.
In a sense, lack of a better term.
Yeah. So I started off on YouTube, like long form, and then I used Snapchat, like whatever you see now, like on my stories at whatever, keep putting games up. I did that on Snapchat. Snapchat is just me. Like it's not Shayz Dayz. It's literally just me. So Instagram, like I started Instagram once I started Shayz Dayz. So when Instagram started doing more of that, like took whatever Snapchat had, I was doing it on Instagram, on Snapchat, and did YouTube. But that made no sense. So I was like, all right, forget Snapchat. I don't even know why that was even a thing. But the whole Instagram thing just picked up because it was like people seeing a game without actually going or having access to a game without actually being on the baseline, sideline, or like next to whatever action it is. So yeah, people watched it. People gave me positive feedback. So I was like, hey, I'll just keep it going.
It's funny how you said Snapchat because I haven't used Snapchat in years, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But in terms of the content, so somebody brought this up to me when I was kind of not really struggling to figure out where else to post things, but just trying to do different stuff. Somebody told me, why don't you just make a TikTok, right? Has that been an idea for you? Has somebody brought that up? And how do you feel about that brand and how that could potentially help or not help you?
TikTok might be over, but
that too, yeah.
All right, aside from that, I do have a TikTok, but it's not active. Like I put one video up just because, but I mainly got a TikTok just so I can have my name.
Okay.
Because there's some woman that has the name, and like when you look at hashtags or whatever, like it was just something that was weird, and I saw like who liked something. I think it was on Twitter, like saying Twitter. I don't really be on there. I just connect the Instagram post or whatever. But I saw something weird, and then I looked up Shayz Dayz on something, and then I found out that there's a Shayz Dayz on OnlyFans. Yeah, so I was like, all right, so Shayz Dayz being used on other platforms for something else. So I wanted to make sure, I had my name. So in short, I had TikTok, but if I decide to use it, I'll use it.
So when you see that, you reported that page. What's going on here? Like
you just
had to,
Dayz,
you just had to figure out your paperwork, I guess, in terms of owning your name proper.
Listen, she can have the OnlyFans Shayz Dayz. That's fine. I just needed the TikTok.
The TikTok.
Yeah, just in case I wanted to be active on there for basketball.
Heard you.
Yes.
Heard you. So let's transition. You talked about being on the baseline a lot in your one spot that you like to be in. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of knows that spot whenever you're outside. I want to get into certain things only people like me and you kind of go through on the baseline. One, sometimes people talk too much. Other camera guys, other camera women, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes when I'm locked in, I'm like, yo, can't really be talking, brother. Like, what's going on? So have that happened to you where you're trying to just lock into the moment and someone just keeps chatting your ear off?
1000%.
So how do you navigate that without being rude, I guess, as you can say?
Be straightforward. Like, I'll, can we talk afterwards, or, hold on after this play, we're on a dead ball or something like that. But I mean, if you stay focused, sometimes they actually get what you're doing, but then a lot of times they don't. So that's when you have to say something.
If we're all in the same, community, I think we all should understand what each other are
Yeah.
doing.
Well, okay. When it comes to media, I feel like you should know what's up. But at the end of the day, people just be wanting to talk, And well, media-wise, like, especially if you're just there for a long game or if something exciting is like, oh, who do I talk to? Like, you just,
I feel that.
Whatever.
Sometimes for certain people, I'm sorry, I'm not going to air nobody out or nothing. It's just sometimes it's like, yo, bro.
Yeah, like, yeah.
We don't have to talk right now.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. 1,000%.
One baseline that you occupy a lot during the summer is Dykeman Park. First, I do know that, Cha-Ching told me this, that you guys kind of met at Tri-State and then somehow both ended up getting to Dykeman. First, how did that interaction happen? And then secondly, let's go into your time at Dykeman and how you've become one of their staple people in that park.
Well, I met Dave Cha-Ching at Tri-State, but I don't even remember, like...
How that happened?
Yeah, like, literally, he was announcing, and then West Fourth was one of the tournaments I was heavy at, Tri-State, and like I said, Gun Hill and just random, but Tri-State a bunch, so he was announcing more there, and that's when, I met him, and I mentioned I met, Dave's joint there as well. So a lot of, people were there in other places, clearly before other places, but, yeah, like, I honestly didn't know much about him, like, being the Dykeman, announcer, because they had someone else, but I didn't know until when I started recording there more, and that was, 2015? So 2014, I went there, I went to grad school with Kiki Campbell, so Khadijah Campbell. Yeah, and she was already at Dykeman holding it down. She helped on the women's side and just, like, a bunch of things. And so I was like, all right, well, who do I talk to or whatever? So, like, she was, try to put the word in, but, like, I didn't hear back. So I was like, all right, like anywhere else, I'm just going to show up. And that's what I did. So 3 times, I think I showed up 3 times. My first year was 2014, or maybe 4. And then 2015 is when I was there. I forgot what big year it was for Dykeman, but...
I want to say 16, but I can't remember.
No, it was beyond that number. But I was there, and I was there, like, often. I was asked to, just capture a lot of people coming in and do, like, more interviews, which I have been doing already. And, yeah, from then, I was just there more. And then I became cool with Naya Stevens, who runs the media team. And she does a lot more than that, but a lot of people do know her, from being the boss when it comes to the media team.
Shout out her for
yes,
Stevens.
Exactly. And her uncle is Ken Stevens.
Okay.
But those are separate because he holds her, position down in that park, and he holds his position down. So when we became cool, and that's like my road dog for real. And we always talk about the tournament, different ideas, and yeah, that's honestly like from where I started and like where she picked things up. That's where the media team like actually sparked and just grew and evolved, honestly.
And started putting in work.
And I was the first one, honestly, like probably in streetball, like first official media team in streetball that like has your graphic designer, whatever
As a
position.
video person or
Yeah.
person, yeah.
Yeah.
So when we get to, I want to talk about how you mentioned this before. You just kind of showed up when you didn't really hear back from the formalities of how you want to get into that part. I want to touch on that because we don't have to get into the specifics of how Dykeman compensates you for whatever you do. We don't have to do that. But in terms of getting to that point where a company or a program or a park says, okay, you put in enough pain, for lack of a better term, or you've shown that you can be consistent with what you do and the type of work you put out. How difficult can that process be when, for somebody like, I guess, myself starting out, or somebody just trying to get attached to something to show people like, yeah, I can do the work? How do you navigate the free work time of your life when you're just trying to show people what kind of work you can do?
How do I navigate it?
Like, I know it's a little tough, but how did you deal with that? How did you fight through it? Of course, job on the side maybe, but
So, I mean, it's still a thing. Like, just in general, it's just still a thing because at the end of the day, this is all grassroots. So is it lucrative? Not really, in the sense of like the tournaments having the most money. The third parties, yes, right? As far as like the sponsors or whatever, sure, they'll give money. But when it comes to a lot of tournaments, a lot of them just run to just make it happen, like make the games happen. They got the
end result,
the jerseys, the refs, and whatever they gotta do for either lights or a clock, just stuff like that. People work there like just to make things happen. So like it's still a thing. Like I can't even say, oh yeah, I started this and now I'm here. Like it's not even like that. It's still a work in progress. Yeah. So you still just, regardless of that, you just have to go out and just work like you're gonna get paid a lot, or if you're not gonna get paid, it doesn't even matter. You just gotta put your best foot forward.
So to keep it forward, with your time at Dykeman, I realized there was a docu-series they had, I think last year or 2 years ago, and you were featured in that along with a lot of other powerful women that help run Dykeman. And I know there's a lot of different women across the different tournaments, across the different high school programs. So first, can we touch on how powerful certain women are in these spaces, male-dominated, where sometimes all the testosterone will stop the logic from, processing, and sometimes a woman is there to handle certain things and to make sure it goes smoothly. Can you speak to some that you know and some that should be shouted out, and let's get to there.
Well, first, when it comes to Dykeman, like Naya was featured, Kiki, Miss B, who runs the women's/girls side, Jewel, which is her daughter, Miss Sheena, who runs Summer Youth. And we know, if when it comes to just in the summer and like summer activity or just basketball, like Summer Youth helps run things because they're the one that's cleaning up and setting up and so on and so forth. So that's big. And even just the women on the media team. So, Nia, for instance, and the other guest shooters that come through, Kim, Courtside Kim, and Aaron, Ballers Journal. Yeah.
There's one.
Zoru Makiko. Sorry, guy.
No, I didn't want to cut you. I just wanted to highlight another one. I forgot her name. Every time her mix comes up, it says this mix is made with love.
Oh, no. That is not a her.
That's not a her.
Yeah, no.
What?
Yeah, you get the vibes. Yeah, right. Shout out Ronnie. Ronnie Love.
Wow, that's crazy. My fault, Ronnie Love. Mixes is hard though. But
because you're that smooth. Look. Yeah. Shout out to you, Ronnie. But I don't know every single woman in other tournaments, but I've noticed like the ones that hold it down at the table.
Shout out the ones at the table. Yeah,
other media. So like I don't know the names, but for sure I've seen some at LTG, Gersh, UBA, a bunch of places. And of course because the girls ran the tournament, I can't even think, it's in Harlem. Uptown Challenge.
Oh, okay.
Uptown Challenge.
I was thinking about a different Harlem one.
Yeah, and just like in general, like when it comes to the testosterone ran.
Since we on the topic of women in power in streetball, shout out Queen of Harlem.
Facts.
Shout out Queen
That's
of Harlem.
True.
I think it's her government name Michelle Smalls. I think that's. I'm sorry. I do research, so sometimes if I got the name wrong, I'm sorry. But Queen of Harlem, that's the nickname.
Yes.
I went to that chip tournament last year, the chip game last year.
So did I.
Yeah, I think I did see you. I think we're on opposite baselines.
Yeah.
But I think she's the only one that I know that runs a tournament in New York City. I don't know.
Men's.
A men's tournament. Yeah, at that. So I just wanted to shout out her, doing a great job. It looked like she's doing more. Her grand prize went up this year, $50K. That's none of my business though. But yeah, there's a lot of money in streetball. But shout out to her, woman in power. I didn't mean to cut you.
But that's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah. So let's tailor it some more. So I guess just to stay on the Dykeman side, with the documentary coming out and you featured on it, how much of a milestone was that for you, and how much did you help put that together in terms of footage or whatever they asked you or needed you to do?
So I was featured in it, and my footage was featured in it. So that was cool, and just to I guess share how much of like a big moment that was for me. Mm-hmm. Well, and also Naya, because like I mentioned, like me and her just got super close. Literally, we said it multiple times. Like, well, she mentioned it first. She was like, "Oh, like we're gonna win an Emmy." Those words, exactly. We're gonna win an Emmy. We have these talks like in my car. Like I don't know, something about those car talks. Like,
yeah, trust me.
Yeah, something about those car talks. But
I had a few.
Yeah, literally, like after the tournaments, like almost every night we just talk. So I forgot what year it was. It might have been 19 or 19 probably. And literally those words came out her mouth, and it was said repeatedly, and then we both said it repeatedly. And then I personally said, just even from when I first started, I was like, I can see my footage being used in a documentary. And looking now, like that, like back at what we said, is like forward thinking is now a thing, and an Emmy was won.
That's a big accomplishment.
I
don't know where that ranks in your terms of accomplishments, but
up there. Emmy was won. Like what? Like it was spoken into existence, and it's one of those powerful things that when it actually happens, it's like a wow type of situation. And when that happened for us, we literally we spoke about it right away, because we knew what we spoke about. We knew what we put out in the universe and what we, harped on. And we actually worked toward it. It wasn't just like, oh, by luck. Like, literally, that's something that we put in a lot of work for. And then, just the footage part, it was cool to even just, like, go back and see certain things. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't even know I had footage of certain people. Like, I saw Obi Toppin, and I was like, why does he look so familiar? And he has a younger brother.
He does.
Yeah, sure. Jacob. And I was like, this year that can't be Jacob. And I saw like Obi, and I saw some other players. I was like, wow. I was like, sheesh, yeah, that's...
The footage speaks for itself.
Right. So I was like, all right, this is cool. I can see more of this.
In terms of those moments that you just described, could you give one or two that has stuck up in your mind that you captured over the years that you just can be like, damn, I remember that, and I would love to redo that, or if I had a time machine, I would go back to that moment just to relive it. I know that's a tough one. Maybe one or two if you can give them in a proper way.
I don't know.
Was it a slam event, New York versus New York event?
Tough. So like, shout out to Sam, shout out to New York versus New York, Nike, all of them, all the big ones.
All the ones.
Because it's all, all those events have like moments, and I was there, for all of them. But, you gotta show love to the sponsored or like the big activations. You gotta show love to that. So, let's see. I would say, should I? You're in Brooklyn. So
we are in Brooklyn, folks.
Yeah, so I feel like I have to say something about Brooklyn. Am I doing Gersh? Actually, you know what? One Gersh moment that was fire, like, because once I started Shayz Dayz, I got to know more of the players and like just who they were. So that honestly is what keeps me going. Like just learning people's stories, or just like, I don't know, just learning about New York City basketball is so rich in history. And regardless if you're older or, you know, younger than me or like close in age, I just find it interesting, you know, just people, oh, that's the one from, you know, this team, or they did this and did that. So it was semis game, I guess. Never ran, never will.
Yeah, I wasn't there yet, but I know about him.
Yeah.
Is that the? I feel like we're gonna be talking about. I'm sorry.
No, with Lily and Gino.
Yeah. I've been told about that. I've seen a couple footage on that. That looked crazy.
Yeah.
Where they just shot the lights out that game or something like that.
Wait, who did?
They both shot the lights out that game.
Yeah, but it was a good game, and Irv was on the other team. I can't even remember if that was a semis or a championship. And actually, that's far the fact that they even have like best of 3.
Yes. So that's the finals. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was that, cause something about that in my memory gave like multiple games.
Yeah, championship.
Yeah. So like it was just like that was fire only because like I also did the most to get out there before I drove. So yeah. Yeah. All the things to get out there. So like yeah, that was just like a broad moment, and I mean, I don't even know like in the Bronx, actually Watson, I remember it was a championship game, and it's just like experiencing it. So shout out to, you know, Dykeman and everybody, right? But there's just a lot of moments there. But you know, to show some love to Watson in the Bronx, like that was the first time that I was in that park when it was like turned up. And it was just like a cool experience. I forgot who played, but what is the announcer's name?
Watson?
Not now.
Oh, okay.
Now I want to say the wrong name. You're wrong. And I do know, but anyway, he's a legendary one. And I got to see him in action, which was cool. And of course, like, you know, Rutgers stuff. I actually met Greg, who was the commissioner at Rutgers. So there was a couple times where I went there and seeing their indoor court outside, like when they had the wooden floor. That was a while ago. Yeah, if you don't remember, like, not that back in the day, but like, yeah, they had that. So that was cool. So just honestly, a lot of the moments is just my first time in different parks, seeing different things and just getting that experience for myself, opposed to someone like, oh yeah, you should have been there, or this is what happened. I was getting my own experiences and capturing it. So those were big moments in general.
Got you. So, in the beginning of the episode, when we first talked, you mentioned the word impactor. I don't think I properly gave you a chance to talk about that, and I felt like that was a great word instead of influencer or some of the cliche words we hear in terms of people like us. So, why the word impactor? And let's start there. Why the word impactor?
No shade to like the word influencer, but it's just that like I feel like I do more in the community. I feel like what I do is not something to just like gloss over with the term influencer. So I feel like I impact just the space in different ways. You know, from, you know, being one of the first to do what I'm doing or to do stuff in this like new era of media, to, you know, giving some players or anyone else their reps in talking from the camera, and just stuff behind the scenes as well. Like a lot of people see me cover games on the sideline, baseline, or whatever, but there are just other things that I do help with as well. Yeah, impactor. I like that better. It seems more meaningful, and that's what I view myself as, a more meaningful individual in the space.
So, I guess as a follow-up, how much impact do you think you've had on the community since you started? I know that's a broad question. Can you try to measure that or try to gauge how much impact you've had?
I don't know. I would prefer other people to say that, you know.
I respect that.
Yeah, I have my answer. You know, I'm very confident, but I don't want to get into that. But I do think that, you know, that I have impacted a lot of folks in different ways. But I'm more so like the media side. But yeah, like I said, I prefer other people to say how they think I impacted them or things I've covered that they have or they through.
That should show you that she's very confident, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just go with that. But so then it gets me to this. Is there anything in the future that we should know about or look out for from Shayz Dayz? Anything that's means something to her that she's about to, that's already in motion, that's been planning, something that she could, if you could give a tidbit to the people, what are you working on and what's to come more from Shayz Dayz?
So right now I'm doing this photo project, which I did before. It is basically like a barbershop poster that shows different hairstyles of different players, predominantly players, but black and brown players. And it just shows the different hairstyles that are, worn. And it's not just to, to aesthetically show what is different, with the hairstyles. It's also to show like the individuality that, a lot of the boys have, and a lot of players have, because it ties back to like, Allen Iverson or Dennis Rodman, when they were doing their thing with their hair and they were showing their individuality, and it was like a problem. But things have evolved to where it's fine now because it's like black people, like, black and brown folks, they have certain hair, like they set trends, they
From
do.
the wigs to the mohawk to the
like
tape up.
Right. So I mean, girls, that's his own thing. Like, I couldn't even go with that, right? Because if I cover the girls, then I gotta supply the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a lot, though.
Yeah. So I did it with teams before, and it's easier again, like for the boys to shape up and retwist or whatever. I'm gonna do a girls one at some point, but for the boys, I think that is just important to show that, and the boys don't really talk about that as much, but I think it's important because also in different parts of the country or just whatever world, it's still an issue for hair of a certain texture to be a certain way. It has to be tamed. It has to be something that that makes other people comfortable. Where it's like, okay, like it's hair, and it's right, and it's natural to the players or to the people, whoever. It's just natural. So yeah, that's just like more of a cultural thing. So I'm doing that for IS8. Again, I did that before with some championship teams, and I did IS8, but right now I'm finishing up with the IS8 one for this season. And I am going to start, or I started already, I'm going to start posting on a new account.
Oh. Yeah.
So it's not Shayz Dayz. It's, it applies to somebody. I think that's the name I'm going with. But it is basically just going to be videos posted of different people stating like a piece of advice for anybody about anything. It could be basketball, not basketball. Or like quotes or mantras or whatever that they live by. And I collect those, like especially the quote or mantras. Like I ask that a lot from different people. And I'm just gonna post it. And I mean, it could apply to you, it can apply
I like
to
that. That's
me,
a tough one.
him.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
But it applies to somebody.
So, last two questions. Well, one is a question and one is, this is where I will give you the floor. But before I give you the floor to say what you want to say real quick, I do have this little bit of a loaded question, but I'll just get to it. We've, over the past year or two or few years, even in history of New York City or just sports in general, there's been a lot of corporate entities that enter certain neighborhoods for certain things, whether it's tournaments, whether it's high schools or whatever, and some would say they take from the culture. What is it from your perspective that you think these brands need to do to better give out resources, better show off the underground gems that may be here in these certain neighborhoods? What do you think these corporate corporations, entities need to do better in places like a Zone 6 or maybe like a Gersh or a Dykeman, where yeah, you may sponsor these tournaments, but at some point, where's the funnel or help of resource to get these kids or young people to where they need to be?
Well, when you say where they need to be, as far as what?
Recognition and the next level, whether it's D3, JUCO, whatever it is, to potentially help funnel these kids properly and not just have them as entertainment on the summer stage.
I mean, it is a loaded question, and I can't even say I have an answer because it really depends on what their mission is, what they're looking for and whatever, because a lot of them only care to get their content or get their product on certain, talent, or just be associated with certain names. So, I mean, I'm not saying that, the brands that are tied to tournaments now aren't really doing a thing when it comes to community outreach, but I think that, things that happen in the summer, summer is crazy. I can't even say like, oh yeah, we can just do this or just do that. Like, it's crazy, but, maybe doing stuff when things slow down could help out. So if not during June, July, August, maybe in September, October, right? Something outside of those hours where you're still helping the tournament and the youth within the tournament, but it's in a different light. So again, I don't know what the budget is for whatever they have during the summer, but I do think that they could work more around just the summer stuff. It is a little spicy because I do have other thoughts, but yeah, that's one thing that I could say. And then also just work with more people that are truly in the community and not just have like a person that's like the community whatever in that brand. You can work more with people that are actually in those neighborhoods or part of that tournament opposed to an outside person coming in not really knowing much.
Doesn't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, or the stories. Yeah, so that's another thing. And then
yeah, she has more tea, but we're not gonna indict anybody. We're just gonna keep it Pete. And last but not least, this is a time, Shay, where I let my guests do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say, something that probably is on their chest for a long time. This is your camera. And go away. Whatever you got on your mind, go right ahead.
Well, actually, I have a question. Real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
For you, what's something that you live by? Quote or mantra that you live by?
Oh, damn. It's two. One, when I was younger and I was dealing with women and trying to feel like I should be the best man ever or whatever. It was, you can't stress the things that you can't control. That's number one. And number two, it's not really, I guess it's a mantra. I saw it in one of my barber's crib. I was chilling. He was coming by here and he has a poster. It's a big ass $100 bill, but it's faded. And then what it says is chase the vision, not the money. So that's been like one of my screensavers that whenever I do like pods like this, I would hit do not disturb and it pops up chase the vision, not the money. So those are the two things that I've kind of been living by lately.
I like that. Wait, first one was?
The first one was try not to stress the things you can't control.
And I like that.
And the second one is chase the vision, not the money.
And the second one for sure is one that I want to just go off of and now be my last thing. Chase the vision, not the money, because literally if you just chase things that will make the money, like as far as trends or whatever, you might be stuck in a place where you're just not happy. So chase your vision, do what you gotta do to make yourself happy. The money will come. Heavy advice, especially for the creators. The money will come, or anybody with dreams. Like, just do what you do, and then all the positive things, the money, and all the other things will just come. So, yeah.
And that was Shayz Dayz. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shayla Diaz, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. I'm going to shake your hand. I usually dap up people.
Man.
That was a great pod, guys. Hopefully, you guys learned something new about her that you didn't know. Hopefully, she helped you motivate yourself to do better. And we'll see you on the baseline, Shay.
Yes, indeed.
Stay safe. Have a good summer. Thank you so much.